Welcome to Dawn Chorus Writes, a Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction and audio fiction. This is a miraculous fairy tale and voted by you guys. So it's a modern Beauty and the Beast mixed with Miraculous Ladybug. So I hope you enjoy. It is called Secrets Under the Moon. Massive shout out to Arkatza for her beautiful, stunning artwork in the thumbnail. I got this one commissioned specially for you guys for this series, so I hope you like it, and there'll be a couple of other little images coming your way as well. So make sure you go and send her some love, and all her information is in the description below. And make sure you smash that like button, comment down below what you think of it and what will be happening next, and I hope you really enjoy it. Once upon a time lived a... That's the opening you would expect me to write, to explain how this fairy tale came to be. But this wasn't one of those stories. Now, if you asked me a week ago, I would have said there was no such thing as fairy tales filled with magic and true love. The simple idea of someone being transformed into a cat, or as he referred to himself, a beast, placed under a magical curse, waiting for the day you break it. No, all that would have belonged in one of those stories you were read to as a child at bedtime to fill your dreams with wonder. But as an adult, you cast aside these foolish ideas of make-believe, relying on everything in your world was how it should be. That was until it happens to you. Until the unbelievable scoops you up and turns your small world upside down. Finding yourself climbing onto your balcony night after night, gazing across the rooftops of Paris for a glimpse of a certain cat boy, my kitty, under the moon, filled with secrets, wondering how all this happened to you, and telling yourself this wasn't love. Was it? Chapter 1. Marinette woke again, her body aching from the uncomfortable angle of being slumped over her desk and meters of fabric as your pillow. She groaned at her alarm, slamming her hand on top of her phone, sliding it across the screen to silence the shrill ringing sound. How was it 5 a.m. already? She guessed she must have gotten 3 hours of sleep this time. She peeled her eyes open and rolled her head in a circle. The half-dressed mannequin stood next to her, taunting her with yet another piece of her design still unfinished. Between working in the bakery at all hours, supporting her parents, she only found fragments of time to finish this recent piece, while sleep was a distant memory. Her snooze button went off again. The shrilling sound rattled inside her foggy brain. This time, she swiped at the right button, rose to her feet, and ambled down the stairs towards the kitchen. Coffee was a must. A shower was a maybe, and clean outfit that wasn't covered in lots of random bits of thread glued on by yesterday's attempt at making ice biscuits was a certain. Placing on her grey dungarees on top of a pink t-shirt, Marinette ran her fingers through her hair before twisting it into a bun. Adding an extra eyeliner to make her blue eyes pop, she stared at herself in the mirror. She was passable for the morning crowd coming into the bakery for the daily supplies of breads and pastries. Not like they had much of a crowd these days. People preferred the simplicity and the convenience of supermarkets rather than the artistry of her papa's baking. To the point they could no longer afford extra help, and she offered to take some of the weight from her parents' shoulders and work full-time. It wasn't like she had college to attend like her friends, and the idea of affording fashion school was out of the question. Each month, the little money she was able to save went on fabric, submitting one more design into competitions, hoping she could win a prize. Most of them were small rewards, a few €100 which went towards bills and fabric for the next submission. However, the design she was currently working on was a submission piece for this showcase at the up-and-coming gala. In return, the winner gained a place at the Aggressive Fashion Foundation and a scholarship. If she could win this, it would be enough to change her parents and her own fate. A little luck was all she needed. "Morning, my mum," Marinette muttered as she poured herself a second cup of coffee. "Morning, dear. How many hours of sleep did you get last night?" Sabine gazed at her daughter over the top of her cup of tea. Marinette shrugged her shoulders and rolled her neck again, guessing she must have pulled something from the awkward angle she had found herself in. "Please don't tell me that you fell asleep at your desk again." "Maman, it's fine. I'm fine. I have a deadline I'm working to, but once this is done, I promise I will rest." "You say that and never do. There is always one more project, but I'm afraid one day you'll look up from your sewing machine or step out of the bakery and the life you have isn't there anymore. It already isn't there anymore. This is my life now, at least for the time being." "But what about your friends? Alia, Nino, who was that other one? I've forgotten his name. Luca? You haven't spent time with them in a while." Marinette breathed deep the aroma of coffee, composing herself. She knew her maman meant well by it, that she had her best interest at heart, but she didn't get it. How could she? And if Marinette fully explained the reason behind it, she would only feel the guilt, and there was no reason for that. "They are busy with university, that is all. I had better open up, ready for the mad rush." She saw the tone cutting through her maman and gave her a half smile. She meant nothing by it. "I'll see what task Papa has for me today." She quickly topped up her coffee cup and headed down the stairs, hearing her papa's singing voice becoming louder from the kitchens. She smiled at herself at the repetitive song he sang for each item he made, knowing he was currently working on a batch of macaroons which he will sandwich together later. Placing her cup on the side, she picked up the trays filled with buttery treats and the comforting smell of bread, trying to force out the conversation she just had with her maman out of her mind. In earnest, she had felt disconnected for a year now, with no reason she could give anyone, not even to herself. There felt like something was missing from her life, from her heart which had created a gaping hole which nothing could fill. The only rational reason she could tell herself or others was the need for fashion school. It was the only one that made sense. What else could it be? The 7 a.m. alarm went off on her phone. It was time to open. The 3 usual customers queued up outside, no matter the weather, as if there would be a mad rush one day and they would lose out on their usual items. The doorbell rang out as she stood to one side and greeted each of the customers before making her way back behind the counter. 4 croissants today, is it, Mrs. Granger?" Marinette smiled at the old lady, wondering who the other 3 were always for, handing her the paper bag and placed the coins into the till. "Bonjour, Mr. Moulin. Is it 1 or 2 pans this morning?" she asked, knowing the answer already, reaching out to the loaves of bread. "1 this morning, Marinette. Your papa makes the best bread in Paris, you know," the old man repeated, the same line every morning. "Thank you. I will pass that on to him." "I'm surprised how quiet it is this morning. The usual, my dear," Mrs. Martin added to the other's agreement. "It used to be the busiest bakery around." "Supermarkets," Mr. Moulin confirmed as Marinette nodded her head, watching the 3 leave again, muttering to one another. For the next hour, a steady stream of customers kept her busy. When she finally found the time to grab yet another cup of coffee, the tinkering bell sounded out again. She peeked at her phone and knew exactly who it was. "Morning, I'm getting your usual order ready." Marinette glanced up and saw his green eyes staring down at her. Morning, Marinette. How has it been so far today? Felix gave her a smile, which didn't extend the warmth to his eyes. Oh, the usual. A steady stream of loyal customers, much like yourself. Yes, but I'm not just a customer, am I now? We are friends. He reached out to place his hand on top of hers, but she slid it out of the way and grabbed hold of the box. And as your friend Marinette, I was hoping to invite you to the gala as my guest. But, Felix, you know I'm working on a submission piece upstairs. Yes, but this way you can attend for certain. Wear your lovely dress and I will make sure you speak to everyone you need to. But I want to get in on my own merit, not from... She paused, not wanting to offend him. Your kind gesture as my friend. Rather, being selected to be worthy of being there. I thank you, but I will have to decline your offer, Felix. Think it over, will you, Marinette? That way you won't have to be up at all hours. Get some much-needed sleep, and get the chance you deserve to attend. After all, it's my father's foundation. There has to be some perks at being friends with an ogress. That isn't why we are friends. Not that she had much of a choice, since he was one of their best customers for the past year. Granted, she had known him from school, but they hadn't always been like this, on such speaking terms as he hung out with Chloe. The car horn sounded out as she placed the last of the pastries into the box. I thank you for the offer, but I will have to decline, Felix. I hope you understand why. She could see a hint of displeasure flicker behind his eyes at her refusal. I understand, Marinette. You hold great pride in your work, but the offer stands if you choose to take it. Or we could go for that coffee sometime, as I know how much you like it. He smirked at a half-drunk cup sitting at the side. The horn beeped for the second time as he tried to wave at the oversized man in the front seat. I hope you have a pleasant day, Marinette, and see you again tomorrow. See you tomorrow, Felix. She gave him a weak wave as he stepped back through the doors, happy that the ordeal was done for another day. She couldn't put her finger on it, but there was something about him she didn't fully trust. Maybe it was a calculating look behind his eyes, always looking for an angle for his own pleasure, or how he had suddenly flipped overnight to be the boy who always seemed to hang around Chloe, her enemy, to the man before her with sleeked back hair and tailored suit, wanting to be her friend. Either way, if she was going to the gala, she would do it of her own merit and not piggyback from his. After the lunchtime orders, her maman placed a hand on Marinette's shoulder. Why don't you take a couple of hours off and go and see your friends? Hang out with them for a while. I'm sure Alia, she has class this afternoon. But if you're sure, that would be really helpful and give me time to head to the fabric store and collect my order before it looks like it might rain again. Oh, I wasn't expecting. Are you sure you don't want to get some rest instead, my dear? After the 4th cup of coffee, I don't think I could even if I wanted to. Anyhow, if I can get a start on the next part this evening, means I won't be up half the night trying to finish it off. So it means I will get more sleep. Than your usual few hours? Her maman gave her the same piercing stare, but was interrupted as the phone rang. Good afternoon, Duban Chang Bakery. How may I help you? Yes, speaking. How? Indeed? That would be an honor. Of course. I understand. Thank you very much. The same to you. Sabrine held out the phone in surprise before replacing it in the receiver. Mom, is everything alright? Did you and Papa get a huge order through or something? Marinette stepped forward in concern as she watched a wave of thought spread across her face. Mum, are you... Marinette, you wouldn't believe. Fate may be smiling on us after all. Sabrine walked over to the back door and held it open. Tom, dear, would you come here, please? Mum, what is it? What is it, my darling? Both of you, I have just spoken to the organizers of the world-regarded pastry competition in Florence. And, well, we have been nominated. We are in. Sabrine cast her eyes on Marinette and then on Tom. We are in the competition, my dear. In an instant, Tom scooped up his wife with his bear-like arms and swung her around, causing Marinette to take a step back, laughing at her parents. Oh, do you know what this means? Just by taking part will help put our bakery back on the map. Taking part? We will win it, my darling. I am sure of it, Tom exclaimed, and then came to a sudden stop. His stare fell on Marinette. I know what you're about to say, Papa, and the bakery will be fine without you for a week. I know all your recipes. Granted, the results might not be as good as yours, but they will be passable. You are an excellent baker, and I know you'll do a great job, but it's a lot to take on for a week by yourself. Are you sure? Yes, of course I am, Papa. Like you and my mom said, if it means turning the luck around on the bakery, I can take on the responsibility for a week, as long as you promise to come home the victors. Marinette gave her parents a reassuring smile and hid the overwhelming panic deep into her gut. She can do this for her parents, who in return would do anything for her. Plus, if it meant restoring the bakery to how it used to be, affording help so that she could take a step back, had to be worth it. The sensation of both of her parents' arms pulling her in for an embrace distracted her from her thoughts. How did we get so lucky, having a daughter like you? Her mum breathed into her ear. Oh, I wonder who nominated us into the competition. I wish I knew, so I could bake them the biggest cake. Tom vibrated as a deep laugh boomed out of his chest. I wonder. Marinette chuckled at her papa as her mind wandered over the possible candidates and dismissed the notion of it being Felix. Why would it be him? What would he gain from it? Mama, is it still okay to take a few hours off this afternoon? Yes, go. Take this time, for when we leave tomorrow, I'm afraid you won't have any until we return, Sabrine said, giving Marinette a pat on the shoulder. She gathered her small purse containing her list and the money she had saved and made her way to the fabric shop to collect her order. As she ambled back to the bakery, clinging onto the Hessian bag with the delicate silk tucked inside, she squealed at the internal image of her stunning ombre dress from red to pink as the silk floated out around her. How could this not win her a place? But as soon as she thought she had luck on her side, fate had other ideas. Failing to see the person step out in front of her, Marinette's feet twisted around themselves, struggling for grip before crashing into the pavement. But in the process, her bag flew out of her hands with the feather-like silk danced in the air before it landed in a nearby puddle. Scrambling on all fours, Marinette scooped up the now ruined fabric and stared at it in disbelief. Duban Chang, look what you made me do! Marinette stared at Chloe through tears brimming at the edge of her eyes and then down at the tiny scuffs on her shoes. These cost more than your pathetic bakery makes in a month, and now they are ruined, all because you can't watch where you are going. Chloe, you are the one who stepped out on me. Your shoes? What about my fabric? Her voice quivered, forcing her to hold back the tears. She climbed to her feet, holding the now-stained silk, causing the red to turn brown. How am I meant to? The competition! Don't tell me you were submitting for the program. That is utterly ridiculous. They would never accept you. I have done you a favor, Dupang Chang, and now you won't humiliate yourself in front of everyone, including my Felix. I know how you are trying to weasel yourself onto him. Chloe, you don't know what you are talking about. Marinette tried strutting off. She needed to get home, but Chloe grabbed her by the arm. I mean it, Marinette. The program, Felix, they are mine. You have no place in that world. Do you hear me? Chloe said in a low, sinister tone, which caused Marinette to react with the opposite intention. Get off me, Chloe. You can't threaten me like you did in school. You have no say in this matter. Marinette yanked her arm free, making Chloe stumble on the spot. We will see about that, Dupang Chang, Chloe yelled after Marinette, who was now dashing down the street. She quickly unlocked the side door of the bakery, avoided her parents, knowing what they might say at the ruined fabric and the waste of money, and darted straight to her room. With the trapdoor slamming behind her, she threw down her bag onto the floor and stared at her taunting mannequin. What was the point? Why was she putting herself through this? Maybe Chloe was right. The thought of her attending the program was merely a dream that would never come true. She climbed the ladder to her bed and jumped through the skylight, taking comfort of the moon shining above her. Now she could let it all out. Here she was safe. The tears descended onto her cheeks as she wondered how her life came to be this empty. Cat perched across the roof, hiding in the shadows of the chimney, watching his princess weep. How he wished he could leap across and embrace her in his arms after watching Chloe, who hadn't changed since school, yell those hateful words, and all he could do was growl in the shadows. Yet, over the last year, he found this had been the worst part of the curse. Not the transformation into a beast, spending his nights under the moon, but the knowledge of the life he once had as Adrian. To be in love with his princess, the future they had planned together. That will never come to be. To her, there was no Adrian. He didn't exist to her. There were no memories of him. So how could she ever learn to love the beast he had become? Thank you for listening to Chapter 1 of Secrets Under the Moon. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you smash that like button. Comment down below what you think of it and what will happen next. Chapter 2 is coming very soon. And make sure you subscribe so you do not miss out on this and the Miraculous fairy tale or other videos and stories to come. And I hope you are good, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.